Hello, it's a beautiful day here in Houston. I'm at the Easter Seals of Greater Houston Central Location, broadcasting live with BridgingApps. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us last time if you were here. If you missed our first episode last Friday, please scroll through our Facebook page to catch up and see some of the topics that we spoke about last time. We are going to discuss some tactics to prepare for a natural disaster using apps and other devices. In our last episode, we spoke about a few apps. As you can see in my little cloud here of apps, some of the ones we spoke about included the Nextdoor app, we spoke about Waze, and we spoke about the American Red Cross Alerts emergency app, which is just a quick recap. I'm going to switch my screen here for a moment. Here we go. You can see in the upper right corner of my phone screen is emergency. Give this a tap. This is the American Red Cross app. There are several features of this app. Last time we spoke a little bit about planning. Today I'm going to tap on, let me scoot back a little bit, I've jumped a step. If I scroll down here, just for example's sake, I'm going to give a tap on hurricane. And here's some suggestions on how to prepare right before, during, after, and how to plan ahead. As today's topic is focused on preparing, I'm going to choose the right before option up top here. There's some great advice in here on what to do with your preparations. Also notates the difference between verbiage such as the difference between a watch versus a warning. Very important when you could be in the path of a natural disaster. I'm going to scroll down quite a bit more to the next section, which shows then, if you can, do this. You can see there's some great tips in here such as filling your car's gas tank, turning off propane tanks, closing your windows, making the preparations to your home and your cars and such, shutters, advice on using hurricane shutters and not taping glass. I want to also thank our co-host SeniorNet for promoting us and being involved in this broadcast. As I've mentioned in the previous video, and as you might be able to tell by my speech, I'm not a native to Houston. I'm originally from Miami, Florida, such as our friends at SeniorNet in Florida. I've seen plenty of Florida homes bring out the tape decor when a hurricane is on the way. It's not as great as a preparation as some of our other options. So this app here with the American Red Cross, again called Emergency, as you can see in the upper right corner, is, give this an up here, this is the emergency one. This gives some of those tips. You can see at the bottom there, it does recommend do not tape the glass. Not only is it not very effective, but oh my gosh, when it's time to take the tape off, it almost becomes a part of your permanent decor. So let's stay away from that. Now, bring up my note here. One of the important things to mention as we're discussing how important technology can be and how useful apps and such can be when you're preparing for a disaster, how are you going to keep your technology charged? If you're taking your personal technology with you, that can be a difficult situation itself. When you're using apps to stay alert and keep track of the news and maybe use a radar, it could run your battery low. So, one of our tactics when preparing for a natural disaster is to, here we go in front of my camera here, this is an example of a battery pack. It's an extra battery pack made by Belkin. Physically, this is the item here. It's quite small. It's almost the same size as my iPhone here. So it's pretty convenient. It doesn't weigh too much. This can be charged and then taken with you to give you extra battery should your devices need to be charged again and maybe you lose power. Or maybe you end up seeking shelter somewhere where there's not a lot of outlets available to charge. Maybe there's more people than there are outlets available. Having an extra battery pack or 2 or 3 is a great idea. When power goes out, we may not know when we're going to get another charge. So looking into some extra battery packs is a great idea. Again, this here is a Belkin battery pack. This can be charged and taken with you. Another one that I have in my home is very similar in shape and size. Where it differs is the front, or one side of it, has solar panels. This is one that my family uses for camping, and you can find them at most websites and stores that sell camping gear. Solar powered, solar charging, portable battery packs are a great idea also, especially if you're in a situation where you may lose power and you don't know when the next time power will be available again. So where you can purchase these items, it varies tremendously. You can find them in very common places, Walmart, Target, physical places. You can find them online, Amazon, Best Buy, in person or online. It's, I think, a pretty easy Google search to help you find the best sales and deals going on. Definitely a good thing to have in your prepare with in your kits, as technology can be so helpful. Have an extra source of battery power to keep your items charged and ready to go. Now, I'm going to move into a different app here. So actually, do I have it back here? I sure do. So the next app I'm going to speak about today is the CareSync app, which we can see in my storm of apps behind me here. I feel like a true weather person today. So this blue, almost apple-looking icon here is called CareSync. We'll have a link in the comments as well to help you find it and learn the spelling of it. But I'm going to switch my screen here to my device. We're on my iPhone here. CareSync is available on multiple platforms. This is not Apple specific. And if we take a look here, it is not on the screen I'm showing, so bear with me a sec. It should be in here somewhere. I review apps, so please don't mind that I have so many on here. Let's scoot this guy over with the rest of our topics. Here we go. CareSync. Got all my apps dancing here. I'm going to give this a tap. Now, for demonstration purposes, I am in a demo account, so I am not sharing personal information. Now, with CareSync, for this video, I'm going to show 2 items here. I'm on the main page. I'm going to choose Health Info. Several items come up. I'm going to now tap on the Health Conditions section. If you yourself or someone in your family or your household has health conditions that are noteworthy, this is a great place to enter that information for reference later on, should you not be available to represent yourself or your family members, or you just may need to reference it in any situation. You can see there are a couple of examples listed here. On the upper right corner is a white plus. If I give that a tap, this gives me an opportunity. I've got some weird loaded text there, but this does give me an opportunity with my keyboard popped up at the bottom. I can type in a new health condition. I've typed in asthma just for example. We'll say asthma, bronchitis. It gave some suggestions there. I can put all the pertinent information in here. I can also take down some notes. Right above that is medication. Here's some that are preloaded. I'll give this a tap just for example's sake. If it was not one of these, again in the upper right corner is the plus to add something custom, a new medication. Just for example's sake, I'm going to type in Oh, it doesn't like that I was going to put happy pills. Let's move back. And let's try something a little more real. Albuterol. I don't know how to spell albuterol. Maybe this will figure it out. Albuterol. Hey, there we go. Albuterol. Perfect. Hit the done in the upper right. I've added that now. I can add the other pertinent information on this dosage, how much, how is it delivered, how often, and just for example's sake, I'm going to hit the save in the upper right corner. Great. I've now added that. I'm going to step back here, put other comments as it's stored in my child's backpack. It's stored in my purse in case there's an emergency situation. I'm going to save my changes here. I've moved back to the health conditions screen. I'm going to move back once more. And now I'm going to move to the medications screen. This is also very important when you're preparing and you may be in a situation where you need to evacuate, for example. Having a list of your medications is very important. You can see there's a couple filled out here already. In a very similar fashion to the previous section, if I tap the plus in the upper right corner, this gives me the opportunity to spell in a new medication. Medications are quite complicated in their names and spelling, so I'll leave that explanation right there. Great. So with that said, CareSync is a great app to use to prepare for yourself or a loved one, a family member who may have some medical conditions that are important and worth noting. This app helps you have everything in one location to reference at any point. And with that said, I'm going to move over to the next app, switch my screen right here. On the very top, second column is the red CVS Pharmacy app. You may use CVS, you may use another provider for your, I'm going to allow my location here, only allow while using the app, conserve battery. You may use other pharmacies for your needs, but I'm going to use this example CVS Pharmacy for a couple of reasons. I'm going to press not now on here. If you're preparing for a disaster, it's important to notate how much of your medication you have stored. Are you running out soon? Do you have enough supply of your medication? This is a great way to get them stored and to reorder your prescriptions that are important. Also, when you're preparing, things like the common supply, water, bandages, batteries, are a little hectic to shop for before a hurricane. So CVS, along with a couple of other stores, have a drive-up, curbside pickup option where you can use the app to kind of create your shopping cart of items that you're going to need, and they have designated spots, usually up front. If you've gone in person to a convenience store or a Walgreens, a Target, maybe locally here in Texas we have HEB, Randall's, a lot of the good parking spots up front are being taken by or reserved for curbside pickup or online mobile orders. The way these work is you use the app to create your shopping list. One of the employees will do the shopping for you, and as you get to the designated parking spot, you'll mark that you've arrived and someone will bring the items out to you. This can be a great time saver. This can also be a great way to get your supply when you yourself or someone in your family may have a disability and it becomes a little harder to do this shopping in person. I'm going to switch my screen again because the next app is very similar to this. On the upper right corner is a spaceship looking icon with a green color. Here we go. This is Shipt. Shipt is another delivery service. As I mentioned, HEB, and to my friends in Florida, HEB is very similar to our beloved Publix, which I miss so much. I miss the Publix deli. HEB is very similar over here in Texas. Now, Shipt here is SHIPT is the app. Don't want anyone to think I'm saying anything else. It's shipped. Going to switch my screen here to show my phone. Up in the top left corner, it's showing here HEB, one of the grocery stores up here. Just for example's sake, I'm going to scroll down to browse categories and give a quick demonstration on how this works. Canned goods are always a good idea when you're preparing for a natural disaster. Give this a tap. We can see here are some of the items available. If this is on my list, then I'll give a tap. Mac and cheese, this soup, on the go, applesauce, absolutely. In fact, let's get a couple applesauce right there. On the upper right corner is a number 7 in a red circle above a shopping cart. If I give that a tap, I can confirm that this is what I needed. At the bottom, I can choose the special request. Switch my screen here again. One of my favorite features about using Shipt or similar grocery shopping services is the person who does the shopping for you will be in communication with you. So you will get text messages to say, hey, this is Jana. I'm your Shipt shopper. I see here that you've asked for blueberry muffins, but unfortunately they're out. Would you be okay with an alternative? May I suggest cranberry muffins? They seem to be on sale today. It feels like a friend is shopping for you, and it's great having that communication. Again, this is a great app to download and to utilize when you're preparing for a natural disaster. If you yourself or someone in your household has a disability, it can be difficult to get to the store and do this shopping, especially when the non-perishables are flying off the shelves. Maybe lifting a case of water is not the easiest thing to do. This is a great way to get those items, get them delivered to your home, and be in contact with someone while you're at the store. If you place your order and 10 minutes later realize, I forgot something, because you're in contact with the person, you can let them know, hey, could you also add to my order X, Y, and Z? So it's a great app. Shipt, SHIPT. There are other similar services. We'll add some links to the comments here. Instacart, using the grocery stores themselves. Over here we've got Randall's, HEB, Kroger. Most of them have these services. Target, my Floridian friends, and those of you in other states, please share what grocery services you may have locally, if you've used any mobile apps that you prefer to use, if you've had some good experiences, or maybe you've noticed some parking spots at your local grocery store has now been reserved for the mobile shopping app. Could this be a reason why you might want to try it? Let us know. We'd love to hear about it. And I'm going to switch my screen here again. Cool, I'm still in Shipt. I'll exit that. And again, on the very top line, the top row of my apps here, we see almost a white paper clip in a pink square. This is the Airbnb app. I'll give this a tap. While that's loading, I'm going to come back to this screen. Airbnb has done tremendous work with helping people through natural disasters. Last year, we saw two that I encountered personally were Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. As I mentioned, I'm a Floridian. My family is in Miami. So this was something I prepared for with them to make sure that they had all of their preparations in place. So with Airbnb, my parents are on Miami Beach. It's an island, and it's a high threat of flooding. So it helped them to find a place inland, maybe a little bit north, to get the house prepared and them get to safety. There's also, we saw last year during Hurricane Harvey, there were partnerships and funding through Airbnb themselves where they allowed hosts of their units to invite people evacuating the storms to use their homes for free. This is a case-by-case situation. Not every natural disaster is going to mean Airbnb will offer free evacuation homes, but in some cases there will be. It's going to be quite a drive out so that you're in a place of safety. I know here in Houston we saw a ton of available free units out in San Antonio, out in Austin, in surrounding areas. I saw some places out in Georgia to help people who were evacuating from Hurricane Irma. So Airbnb, just a brief description on what this app is. It's similar to booking a hotel, except it's not a hotel, it's somebody's home. This may be a private room in somebody's home. It may be somebody's entire house. It may be a condo, an apartment. They all vary. And I will switch my screen here to give a demonstration. I'm in the Airbnb. I'll step back once more. Airbnb is the pink app on the very top there, right under my time. Give this a tap, Airbnb. Up top here is a white bar that says try Costa Brava. Not sure where that is. Sounds exotic. I'll give this a tap. I'm going to type in, you can see I have some suggestions here. One of my favorite examples is I'm going to type in Miami, Florida. Give this a tap. It says start planning your trip. Am I looking for a home to stay in, an experience, a restaurant? I'm going to choose homes. Now here are some homes that are available in Miami. You can see here, right below the picture, it says entire apartment, 3 beds. Scroll down a little bit more, entire apartment, entire guest house, entire condo. These all vary in what's available. Here, this is what I was looking for. Private room may mean that you have one room, another guest has another room, maybe the owner has another room, and there's shared common spaces. I'm giving this one a tap, such as the kitchen and the living room. Scroll down a little bit here. We can see a small description here. And as this one is just a room, it says here there's common spaces with a sofa bed, and your items in here on what's available are going to vary. Now, something that we'd like to highlight and focus on is if you yourself or someone in your family has a disability, it may not be so easy as, oh, you know what, this place looks nice, book, ready to go. Something that I work with when I'm traveling with my grandfather, whose mobility is not so great, we count every step when it comes to parking, accessing the elevator's location in relation to where the front door is. So if you yourself have a disability or someone in your family has a disability that you need to plan ahead for when you're staying in a different place, such as a hotel or maybe an Airbnb, switch my screen here. With my search up top here, I've gone back, I'll tap home again. I've got an option of dates, guests, and filters. I'm going to tap filters, right? Scroll down just a bit. There's a lot of filters on here, one of which is for accessibility. Choose home features. I'll give that a tap. Give this a moment to load. Ooh. Having a technical difficulty with loading my home features. While I'm waiting for this to load, I'm actually going to restart. When in doubt, restart. Give this a chance to restart. Some of the accessibility features include the width of the door, which is a concern for someone who may be using a wheelchair. There's also the option of ramp or no step at entry. Switch my screen here. Having elevator access may be a feature that's important to you. Having an accessible shower. That one is extremely important. Filters. Scroll down a bit here. Here's my accessibility. Choose home features. Well, unfortunately, I'm not able to bring this item up here at the moment. I'm having a technical difficulty. But to address that, keep an eye on the comments here because we will maybe show a screenshot of that later to see what all of the features are there for accessibility. Again, some of the items I have seen in there for mobility needs may be the width of the door, having a ramp, having an elevator, perhaps the shower needs to have a seat in it, or maybe just access to bring in a chair if you need to. So having these filters will help you find the home that best accommodates your needs or maybe someone in your family's needs. For that reason, Airbnb is a great app to download when you're preparing for a natural disaster. If you find yourself needing to get somewhere safer than your home, Airbnb is a great solution. Again, this is similar to booking a hotel, except it's not a hotel, it's often somebody's home. You may have opportunities to rent just a private room or perhaps rent an entire home. It might be a house, it might be a cottage. You might find exotic things on there such as a tree house or a houseboat. If you're avoiding a natural disaster, I probably would stay away from houseboats, but maybe on a travel day that would be an interesting option to choose. So we're going to wrap up here. We've spoken about a couple of apps. You can see some of them behind me here on the wall. We're trying to tease you a little bit too with some that we did not speak about yet. We previously spoke about apps to prepare for a storm, or we're speaking about apps to prepare for a storm today. Previously we spoke about planning for a natural disaster, and stay tuned because we're going to have some new topics next Friday, same place, same time. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Jana Rodriguez at the Easter Seals of Greater Houston Central Location, broadcasting live with BridgingApps. Thank you again. Shout out to SeniorNet and everyone who has supported our broadcast. Take care, stay safe. See you next time.